Well, let's get more on this now with Laura Lopez Gonzalez, a health journalist and editor. She joins us now from Johannesburg. Good to have you back with us, Laura. You know, we're just getting over the worst of this current COVID-19 pandemic, and now we're hearing that cases of monkeypox have spread in several parts of the globe. But how concerned should we be about this?
Right. I think we've heard from certainly scientists in the United Kingdom, the World Health Organization, scientists here in South Africa, that it's unlikely that monkeypox is going to become the next COVID-19. As you just heard, the virus is not as easily it's transmittable as COVID-19. So in fact, it doesn't actually do a very good job of transmitting. When you see these outbreaks here in West Africa, in Central Africa, where they happen quite regularly, they tend to burn out because the virus isn't as good as COVID-19 as transmitting. So many scientists here are saying this is not going to be the next COVID-19. But what we are hearing is that scientists are a little concerned that this outbreak is spreading sort of faster or to a much larger scale than they would expect. You're seeing a little bit different presentation in some of the symptoms. We spoke recently here to the experts at the National Institute for Communicable Diseases. These kind of sores that you see typically don't present on sort of the genital areas, but we are seeing that in this outbreak. And again, that might be linked to some of the communities in which it's circulating in, and just really speaking to that very close contact that you need to catch this disease.
We're hearing now that Germany has become the latest country to order vaccines for monkeypox. So I guess that is an added benefit, the fact that there are existing immunizations against this disease. Can you just tell us about that and how effective it is in terms of preventing serious illness from monkeypox?
Right, so monkeypox is a close cousin to smallpox. The world eradicated smallpox in the 1980s, and since then, countries don't typically give smallpox vaccines. You do see countries like the United States keep a large stockpile of small vaccines on hand, and that's really in case of fears of biological warfare with smallpox, which hasn't come to play. What you're seeing countries do now that have stockpiles is you're seeing them use these vaccines as what's called the ring vaccination strategy. So that means you take a person who perhaps has been diagnosed with monkeypox and you look at who's around them that has been in close contact, and you provide vaccination to sort of wall off that kind of infection. And we are hearing today rather that makers of smallpox vaccines are increasing supplies and manufacturing of those. Moderna actually has one in a sort of lab phase testing. But those smallpox vaccines are probably not equally distributed, as we've seen with COVID, and it's unlikely that African countries have large-scale, for instance, stockpiles of these vaccines.
As we heard in Ramesa's story there, we know it's not as transmissible as the coronavirus, but how deadly is it?
So there are two different families of monkeypox, one from the Congo River, Congo Basin, that's in Central Africa, and another from West Africa. The Congo River Basin sort of version of this virus is much deadlier. So up to 1 in 10 people who contract it have been, according to published research, have died. But again, those outbreaks, small, tend to burn out very quickly. The West African clade that we're looking at, that scientists are telling us is sort of responsible for this current outbreak, is not as deadly. You're having, in terms of research, you have death rates of less than 3% in cases where you've seen this in Nigeria. People who tend to die are people who are immunocompromised or have weak immune systems. So children, people living with HIV that are not adhering well to treatment. So this is really a mild disease, we're being told, very difficult to catch, but certainly surprising some scientists with how quickly it spread. And we're not exactly sure at this point. Scientists are telling us why that is.
And we know in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic, we saw many countries quickly shut down their borders in a bid to stop the spread. So judging by what you're saying, you don't think that step is necessary at this point in time in order to contain the infections?
What the World Health Organization has said so far is that there's no travel restrictions in place. Scientists we've spoken to here in South Africa, the National Institute for Communicable Diseases, also don't think that travel bans are going to come into play. Again, this is a virus that really needs very, very close contact to sort of transmit. So not something that you're going to get just by sitting in a room or on a plane with somebody. Very difficult, usually mild, and people are being treated with antivirals for it.
Okay, Laura Lopez Gonzalez, we'll have to leave it there, but really good to get your analysis. Thank you again for joining us.